Hello, Nick, Aileen, and June. Thank you so much for joining me for this extended call about your symposium collaboration for this week. I really enjoyed this week's composition, Some Mornings Need Lullabies by Aileen, which was premiered so beautifully by Nick. And I'm really excited to talk to you all about the process and what the experience was like for you. First, I want to ask Aileen, so why were you drawn to June's painting, Now What, as the basis for your composition?
Yeah. So like the first thing I noticed when I saw June's painting was just kind of it's like as a whole just so lovely and striking. And I think when you reached out to me, Audrey, about doing this project, I was like it was in the middle of like when before everything started opening up. And so June's painting like really spoke to like how I was feeling in those moments, with how empty it felt, but it was so quiet and peaceful. And I'm in LA. I just moved out of downtown, but like at that time I was in downtown, and it's eerie to see empty streets when they're normally so full of traffic. So that was you know it's a lovely painting, June.
Thank you so much.
And so now tell me a little bit about how you converted it into something musical and how you were drawn to make it into a lullaby, as you mentioned in your introduction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I tend to be like very visually inspired. I think in general, and I also like really love writing lyrical lines. And so June's painting was like the perfect inspiration. I actually like set up a call with June and Nick just to talk about their thoughts on the painting and like their thoughts on loneliness and loss, and just kind of get an idea of like just make sure I was on the same page as all of them about what the painting meant. And I think I really liked using adjectives to describe things. I mean, obviously, but like the sense of words and like how precise that can be. And so I think with the words that I was using to describe June's painting, I wanted those words to also describe the piece I was writing. And so the more I thought about ideas, I actually went through a lot of them, the more it kind of translated towards like me writing a response would make more sense than me trying to reinterpret June's painting, just in terms of like how I was, coming up with ideas.
Well, those words, loneliness and solitude, as you mentioned in your introduction and just now, really come through in the piece and in Nick's performance of the piece, and of course in the painting as well. So I think this is a really cohesive collaboration that comes through very clearly, even though we're experiencing it virtually. So thank you all for contributing with so much honesty. I was reminded a lot of like bagpipes when I listened to the piece. Like it sounded, especially the way you played it, Nick, like just these low double stops and just this sort of grandness out in which you perform, and the commitment in your performance too was really inspiring. So I want to hear what your thoughts are on this whole process, collaborating with Aileen, getting to know the painting, and translating that into a performance as you did.
Um, this is definitely a new thing for me. I've never. It's a different type of pressure, but it was also a different type of comfort too. Um, I think when I saw the painting, I was at first I was a little intimidated by the symposium. I was really excited, and I don't know much about visual art, so I thought I would have to talk about visual art in some smart way, but I don't know much about visual art. But it was nice to be able to agree with on some things about the painting with Aileen when we talked for the first time. And another thing I was thinking about recently is that when you were talking about how you made the painting from a photograph of your backyard, like this Bay Area weather. Um, one thing I'm not sure if this is what you meant, but in the painting, but I actually got a comfort from looking at the painting because that's my favorite Bay Area weather. I love the overcast, weather. It's just I mean, there is like a moodiness to it. And when I was trying to play it, the piece, I tried to think about trying to make that fog. Um, I think it's hard to keep the notes spinning and going. That was one of the challenges of the piece, but overall, I really liked the experience. It was so cool being able to talk to the composer, but nerve wracking too because I want to do it the way she wants because I feel like even more responsibility than a regular piece. Because eventually she'll tell me how she what she feels about the how I played it.
You did great.
Thank you. Sorry, I've been rambling a little bit, but I really enjoyed the process. Um, yeah, it's been a light. College has been weird, so it's been it's been nice working on this separate thing because it feels like a real thing. It feels like real collaboration instead of like the weird Zoom performances and all of that nonsense.
Well, I'm so glad to hear you say that. Thanks for sharing. Is this your first time premiering a new composition?
Definitely. Yes.
Well, I'm
I've
glad.
yeah. I've played I've played some music that my best friend wrote, or one of my best friends. But I didn't premiere it or anything. But this is the first time I've done anything like this.
So tell me a little bit about how that is new for you, like the new feelings that come with the responsibility of premiering a new composition or bringing Eileen's piece to life for the first time ever.
I've never played a piece I haven't heard before.
Mm.
I've improvised before. I improvise all the time, but I've never played a piece that I haven't heard before. I didn't even listen to a MIDI file of it. Um, but that was kind of cool. I tried to figure it out. When I didn't understand a passage, I would try to figure out at the piano or sing it or play it nonstop until it started sounding weird. um, Sounds goofy, but I was just trying to understand the piece.
Well, I think you did an amazing job because when I was watching the video, I was struck by how much it felt like you were totally experiencing it for the first time and like persuading me of something that you believed to be true, which was so cool to see. And to be able to feel persuaded when I'm watching it on a screen is really special because
Thank
that's
you.
what we yearn for in live performances. But you were really able to get that. And I think like the two of you, I mean, the three of you did an incredible job in bringing this honest thing to life. So I'm really glad to be able to share this with people this week. And June, thank you so much for submitting this piece as well as a few others that'll be featured in the next few weeks. We're so honored to have artists like you part of this collaboration. And I just wanted to hear from you what this process was like for you seeing your painting inspire a new piece of music.
I just loved it. The whole thing I loved because, as I've written to you previously, I've explored various aspects of the arts besides painting. I got my master's in sculpture and I did a lot of dance for a while. I didn't tell you I took singing lessons with the she used to be I think she was like a principal with the San Francisco Opera at one time, and I explored poetry, everything kind of, and so but when I was younger I thought I could do everything, but at a certain point you realize you can't. And so the idea of working with other artists musicians, wonderful musicians and composers is just, I just love it. I think it's great. And Aileen, I love what you composed, and Nick, I love the way you performed it. And I just think it's like I think this whole idea is just, I wish there was more of it. in the world. I just think it's beautiful. And thank you so much. I really appreciate being able to have this opportunity.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you. It's my pleasure to be able to feature people as yourselves and do a little part in being able to connect people like you together to each other for collaborations like these, and hopefully other collaborations in the future as you all create new work. So thank you all for being part of this. And June, what was it? Did it give you any new perspectives, like listening to Nick's performance of Eileen's composition on your painting?
Um, it it kind of like, well, the whole thing of you folks are performing artists, so you have an audience, and visual artists, they work alone, and unless they're showing something that's up, that when you're done with your painting, you stick it in a corner, you put it in a storage locker. So having I guess my perspective was that it felt like the work was not only seen, but then it was heard.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That's really beautiful.
Thank you.
I don't have any other questions. Do any of you have anything to add that we haven't touched on yet? Well,
I want to say like thank you so much to Nick, because I know like we were talking in rehearsals about like all these different things, and you did such a great job
Thank you.
bringing my piece to life. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very grateful for this opportunity. It's so much different than what I've done recently. Yeah, I thought it was really cool. I told one of my friends about it, and it's funny. Every time I explained it to somebody, they would say, "Wow!" Like they would just like be surprised by how artful this whole thing is. It's like visual art, composition, and a performer. It's like super. It's that's like a crazy amount of art.
yeah, it's a lot, but it really works. Like every week, I'm just blown away by what people bring to the table. And so thank you all for being part of this and participating in this extended discussion about the collaboration. I hope this will lead to more things.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to thank you, and thinking that maybe when we can all actually see each other, people in person, it would be fun to see if there might be a place where I could bring the painting and the performance could happen live somewhere, with not just me, but everybody.
Yes, that is actually on my mind these days, thinking about ways we can make this a whole live event when it's safe. So more on that soon. I will be in touch with you all about that. But thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Audrey.
Thank you.